Hi, this is Wesley,
This is Kashina.
and you're listening to
In Between the Lines. How have you been, Wesley?
I don't know why I go time, but I'm alright. How about you?
Doing pretty good.
So, hey, do you want to know something?
Well, Wesley,
Nobody's perfect.
you could say that again.
Okay, nobody's perfect.
Well, the reason why we say that is because even though we talk about anime and we do talk about a lot of good that comes out of anime and a lot of stuff that we enjoy about this, about the media itself,
There are some bad points. Sometimes we talk about it, sometimes we don't.
and today we're going to focus on all the bad points because just like how you'll hear with scandals and controversies happening with celebrities here in the United States, Japan also has them, and it's not something that is like far from the truth, and it also happens in anime.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to a lot of people. Anime and manga, I should say specifically.
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, the reason why we're talking about this is because of some of the most recent controversies. This is what I'm going to let you start off with.
Yeah, so the first one we got was with My Hero Academia, specifically the manga.
So, this one surprised me a lot because My Hero Academia has been nothing but, as you can tell by, my shirt that I'm wearing today, I hold it up in a lot of praise. And I've been hearing, I would say, you're caught up to it. I'm still making my way to be caught up to it. But still, me and you both really, really love the series, and it has been shown that a lot of other people, especially around the world, they love the series.
Mm-hmm.
So to hear that there is a controversy with the manga, it immediately brought up my attention. So it's a specific issue.
So the issue is that because whenever we get manga over here in the West, it usually has to go to a translator because unless you just want to read straight in Japanese, you can go and you can go and buy that on Amazon or whatever you want to do.
I'm about to say me with Totally Bound Hanako-kun. Yes.
And so, the translators do a lot of work, but it got to a point where this certain translator started to get harassed and started to get death threats on Twitter because apparently the fans were like, oh, you're pushing more toward this certain character than these other characters. You're trying to push your own agenda. Here's the thing. Translators don't do that. They are seen by the higher-ups. They can't push their own agenda or else the higher-ups are going to know and they're going to be like, hey, what you doing? Stick to the plan.
So I'm gonna give you a small glimpse as to how I see the translation thing going through, because I kind of talked about this in my anime and manga class, where when it comes to translating over manga from Japan over here to the States and stuff like that, it goes through a very, very long, strenuous process, and it goes through multiple checks. So even if this one translator wanted to be like, I want this to be specifically about this. That's not how that goes, because the editors will look at it and they'll look at the original source material and they're going to look at the translator's job and be like, that doesn't exactly match up. I'm going to need you to retranslate that. It would have gone through a retranslate. That one person could not, even if because then why I'm getting so tongue twisted is because if that's how it came out in the translation, then that's how the creator there in Japan wanted the story to come out as. So for them to be like, oh, you're pushing your own agenda, no. Especially if it's an official translation job.
Because it was for Viz Media, which is the actual place where everyone can go to read My Hero Academia. We are not sponsored by Viz. I should say that.
First, let's just say we're not sponsored by Viz or any of the American distributors. Thank you. From different mangas and stuff like that. No, this is literally from them themselves.
And then we got the other one. The other one is just on the anime side. On the anime side. This has to do with My Hero Academia. Now, whoa. We were talking about My Hero Academia. Talking about Attack on Titan. There we go. And so, this is what I don't understand. I'm going to tell you guys first, and then I'll explain. So, it has to do with 3D maneuvering. CG, 3D, basically.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But CG and anime.
And so, sometimes there's good CG, sometimes there's bad CG.
Berserk 2017.
Yeah.
Bad CG.
But it shouldn't get to a point where you go and you start like bullying one of the artists for. It's at Mappa Studios. Mappa Studios is the one who took over Attack on Titan from Wood Studios.
Okay.
And it shouldn't get to a point where this one employee feels bad because of something like it's not even in their control. They're just the ones who make the show. If it's going to be, if a certain part's gonna have CG elements in it, they kind of have to comply.
Yeah, especially if the higher ups are like,
yeah,
yo, this is what we need.
Yeah.
And like the lead animators are like, all right, well, we're going to use CG.
Yeah. And it shouldn't get to a point where even like Mappa Studios has to step in and tell everyone to chill, because it's not cool attacking one person, even if like episodes later people still go and attack this one person, even though he has nothing to do with the episodes that are out.
See so that makes me so mad. Yeah. All right, because I mean, there's multiple incidents of this, but I'm going to start with this, and then with the later controversies that I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to show that there's multiple examples of this, but you don't have the rights. You can be part of the fandom, like I am part of the My Hero Academia fandom.
Yeah.
Does some of my ships not happen in that show? No, but you know.
Yeah, some of them don't happen.
Yeah, like so what I'm basically getting at is fans sometimes get so obsessed over a show or over the thing that they are a fan of that they personally feel like they are the ones who get to control what happens.
Yeah.
And that is not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for example, like what I was saying with before, I might be a huge My Hero Academia fan. I might have my own ships that I have in my head.
Yeah.
First off, for those of you who don't know, ships are relationships that I want to happen. There's a whole history with ships. It's just crazy. But no, so like there might be some ships that I have with the show that I'm personally like, I ship this character with this character.
Yeah. Or sometimes we do it joking where we're like, oh, this person should be with this person. Obviously, we're joking.
Yeah. But I do not feel. But if that's not how the creator wants to take the episode, take the series, then you know what? I'm perfectly fine. I am still content with whatever story that he makes. Even he has specifically said himself, he's not good at writing romances. Yeah. I remember you telling me that specifically, where everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, why don't Deku get with Ochigo already? They're totally meant for each other." And you're like, "Yeah, I mean, they are meant for each other. I can see that happening. But if it doesn't happen canonically, then you know what? I'll still be fine." And and because it's because he said himself, "I'm not good at writing romance."
Yes. I'm in it for like the story elements, what we can learn, and I also like how he incorporates kind of like real world scenarios within his own story itself. I'm not in it for the relationship. If a relationship happens, I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. It still moves the story along.
Exactly.
So
it's kind of like with every other freaking show.
I feel like I also need to say this too. It has to do with constructive criticism, because I've been seeing this a lot on YouTube and stuff like this. This dives a little bit. I'm gonna detach us from for the anime from a little bit.
Yeah.
So Rooster Teeth, right?
Yeah, I know Rooster Teeth.
Yeah. So they make Ruby. Yeah. Apparently people are going after them now because of constructive criticism, and they're just saying they're doing a bad job of writing something. Dude, look. If you want to enjoy the show, enjoy the show. Don't sit here and be like, oh, they shouldn't be doing this. This is just bad writing. If you don't know how the show actually works, then you shouldn't be watching it.
If you don't know the story, just watch how the story unfolds. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. I'm gonna go back to.
I'm so sorry.
No, y'all good, because I did it as well. But I'm gonna go back to Attack on Titan real quick, and then I'll move on to the other controversies. With Attack on Titan, animation is hard. Me being an animator, I know how hard it can be. there are sometimes certain scenes that would be extremely hard to hand draw. So for them to use CG elements, and I haven't watched it personally myself, but if they were to incorporate it really, really well and like make it almost seem seamless.
One thing I will say, because it is very seamless and it's barely noticeable.
Then what's the problem?
You got me. Because there's one example that I want to say, because it's when it's in this current season, and when our scouts basically they're going to invade this other place, and so they jump up from because they're jumping from the ground, going up into the air, so they're using their ODM gear, so they're in the air, and so you can see because they actually move because they're humans. And so, they're actually, moving. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then you got people over here oh, that's bad CG. Don't put that in my anime. I'm like, but it's necessary. I don't care if you need those human reactions in order to move a certain way. Mm-hmm. I get studios did everything hand-drawn. Sometimes you can get away with that. Other times you kind of have to use CG in order to get the product that you actually are looking for.
Yeah, if you're trying to reach a certain quality. Yeah. And I can imagine they probably did a really, really good job with it. It's just sadly there is a bad stigma when it comes to CG with anime. We've seen a lot of bad CG. Yeah. But in the more recent years we've seen a lot of good CG as well. Mm-hmm. So if it's still good CG, then why be so upset with it? It's still a good show. Why do you focus on this one specific? It upsets me because these people who probably aren't animators are you're animating it wrong. Do you even know the amount of time, the amount of stress,
the amount of effort that it takes?
An entire season like that. I'm assuming that Attack on Titan season 4. This is season 4, right? Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine Attack on Titan season 4 is probably 12, maybe 26 episodes.
Probably. I think we just wrapped up. So I think probably 12. Probably. I think that we just get confirmed that season 4 part 2 should be confirmed for 2022.
Okay then. So 12 episodes. In your head, you're oh, that doesn't seem like a lot of episodes. But I can tell you this right now. That's at least probably at least 8 months of work. Yeah. Because you have to go into key animation, the in-betweens, you have to color in all the cells, and let me tell you, what looks like 5 seconds to you is okay, I'm trying to do the math in my head because I've done I did a short film with my animation class while I was in college and stuff like that. Yeah. And I can tell you, I had to do 2 scenes, and they were both literally 4 seconds long. No, one was 4 seconds, the other was 10 seconds, but I only had to do 6 seconds worth of animation. Mm. And I can tell you this right now, I had to draw a little more than 500 frames of animation. Oh yeah, because I remember you
working on that too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 500 frames of animation, and I had to do everything. I had to do the rough pass. I had to do the smooth in-betweens. Mm-hmm. I did 3 scenes. But anyway, I had to do so much, and not only that, I had to color in everything. So I had to do the final line, and I had to do the coloring. Mm. And you want to know how long those 3 scenes took me? Mind you, the shortest one was 3 seconds, and the longest one was 6 seconds worth of animation. Mm-hmm. Let's see, that's 12 seconds of animation. Yeah. Those 12 seconds took me a good month and a half to do. And they were very simple. Yeah. So to do an entire 12 episode... Sorry, I am so upset right now.
You're good.
To do an entire...
Let out your frustration.
I know! To do a 12 episode anime, and for them just to be you're animating it wrong. You don't know the amount of time went into this, and you don't know how expensive it is to do animation. It's just... Oh, yeah. It's all so crazy, and for them to be you're doing it wrong. You don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. That was my tangent. I know everyone's gonna be like, wow, she's really passionate about animation because I know what all goes into it.
Oh yeah.
And CG animation, for them to make it seem like seamless into the anime and stuff like that, oh, even more props to you. Because guess what? CG animation, I've done that too. It's still hard.
Yeah.
Yes, you might be able to get some things out quicker, but guess what? Still a pain to do perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
No, you good.
I'm
only coming from the writing side. That's why I did my whole little spiel earlier
about how the story goes.
Yeah.
So back to Rooster Teeth, when you were saying like how the story wasn't going the way that was going.
Yeah, because there's like people. I don't know why people are like, oh well, because it's weird because they're going at it from people are going at it from animations and from writing, and I'm like, why? Because they're like, it's not progressing the story along, and I'm like, you don't know how the show works. This show has been in development for a long time. We're on volume 8. Pretty much, we're in volume 8 right now. Like we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But it takes time for this show to be written. We originally had 3 writers. 3.
Oh my lord.
And one of them was the creator,
who sadly passed away.
And then now we have more. We have like 4 writers now. I had to think about it. Well, now we have 4 writers, and then people are like, why do you have 4 writers on? You were better off with 2. No. Here's the thing. When it comes to writing something, if it's one person, all that stress is on that one person. If it's 2 people, that stress gets cut in half. If it's 4 people, that stress gets cut to 4.
Yeah. You want to at least lessen the stress and spread out the payload amongst as many people as possible, especially if they're trying to work together as a creative team.
Yeah.
The way most animations are done, like, it's not just done by one person. Yes, they might have like a glimpse of an idea as to what they want to do. Even with animations that are done here in America, it's done with a creative team. Yeah. When they say, hey, look at the story, this was done by our creative team at such and such. Yeah. This was done by a creative team at Disney, at DreamWorks, at, anywhere. Yeah. It's done with a creative team, not by one singular person. Yes, it can be done by a singular person, like with all the Ghibli movies, usually they have one director. But guess what? That's a director working with his creative team. Yeah.
All I'm trying to really say is that if you're going to give constructive criticism, give constructive criticism. You need good feedback. Don't just sit here and be like, no, the show sucks. Well, if you're going to say that, explain why. What are your views on it? What did we do good? And what do you think we need to work on?
And this may seem like we're complaining a lot, and it sounds like a lot of these controversies that are coming up are mainly from the American side of things. No, sadly, Japan does have its gripes when it comes to their fandoms getting upset. There's 2 examples mainly. And one's with an international audience, and then the other one is just with the Japanese audience. I'm going to start with the Japanese audience controversy first. Okay. So, the original voice of Levi, I can't remember the exact voice actor's name, but the original voice actor had to come out with a public apology because, and this was really stupid, to his Japanese audience because he got married and had a baby. Everybody got mad at him, and I
remember when you first brought this to my attention, and I'm like, what, is he not allowed to have a life?
That's exactly. I was thinking to myself, so he's living his life, and you're upset about that? Yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either.
And like, not only did like a lot of people get mad at him, but they went out of their ways to harass him online, send him death threats, and I'm like, all because he got married and had a kid. Yeah. That's stupid. Another thing that has happened, and this was an international audience thing. So this specific director, I can't exactly remember his name, but he is the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion. You probably heard about it. It's not, well, I shouldn't say it's really old, but it's sort of like one of those famous animes where
it's quote unquote what we call a cult following, I guess.
Yeah. Well, not really. Well, yeah, it's a cult following. A lot of people
you
really
can find it
like
on Netflix.
I'm about to say, yeah, you'll find so many places where you can actually watch this anime. But so the director of it, the way he ended the show, a lot of people were very, very upset with how it ended. They're like, it's very unclear what happens, you know.
Now, before you go on, I'm just gonna say this now. Coming from someone who's watched Neon Genesis Evangelion.
And let me just let you know, this is with the show's ending that people were so upset about.
Yeah, because I watched it through Netflix. I like the ending. Let me explain. The only reason why, because there are going to be some people who are like, let me explain.
Yeah, let me explain.
The only reason why I say I like it is because there aren't many shows that dive into the psyche of characters.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you get their thoughts and whatnot, but this actually dives into, like, the physical psyche of Shinji.
And this was done back in, like, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So this wasn't done before. This was sort of, like, new in its time.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is really good. And then it got to the ending, I was totally okay with it. I was like, my boy did it. He got over his trauma. He can now move on.
So...
And then I saw the...
Wait.
Yeah,
So before that...
You...
So before the movie was made, the director was sent death threats, bombings, a hate letter. He received so much harassment from his fans from all over the world that he did not let it get him down. What he did, I find, was actually really, really funny. So I haven't watched this personally, but I know of it and I know about it. So in response, he was like, "You want a clear ending? Okay, I'll give you a clear ending." So he released the movie that was supposed to explain what all was going to happen.
Oh, it was Neon Genesis Evangelion to the second part of 2.
Yeah, to the second part of 2, I Need You.
Yeah.
I believe is what it was called. It's a very, very confusing ending.
Yeah, you can also find that one on Netflix too.
So what he did was, he gave the people what they wanted. An ending.
Yep.
And this ending, he killed off almost everybody.
Yep.
And he made it, like, even more convoluted and confusing. And fans were like, how could you do this? You killed off everybody. The way that the anime was going, it didn't seem like it was going to go like this. His response was, you wanted an ending, and I give you an ending. Don't get mad when I give you an ending that I wanted. It's because these people feel like they're just so entitled. And that's the thing that we're going to get with majority of this episode is, don't feel entitled to your show or your anime and stuff like that, right? Let the artists or the storytellers do what they want.
Because this is their story. This ain't your story. If you wanted to be your story, you got fanfics.
But it was, you got fan fiction, but also if you wanted to tell a story, make your own show.
Yeah.
You know, if you think it's so easy, make your own show. That's all I can literally say.
Much.
I hate.
It's like the best way to like go into it because like it's not like we have our own show or anything, but like.
It's not like we have our own show.
Because like, you know, we like even once the recording is done and everything like that, like, yeah, we put this out, but like, I mean, we are very proud of what we do.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're like, oh, if we want to expand upon it, then we sit here and bring out a new chalkboard and be like, okay, this is what we need to do next. This is what we need to do next. Oh, we're going to have this character do this. And it's just like, okay, cool. We have a game plan. And it's just like, if you give it to someone else, they're like, no.
Yeah, it's very infuriating when someone else is just kind of like, you know, you should have done this differently.
Yeah.
And we're like, but no, that's not the way we wanted things to go. It just reminds us of our personal story with a good friend of ours who took our characters and just killed them because he was like, oh, I'm unkillable, therefore I just kill your characters. Now that's canon. And we're like, no,
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
We had a long conversation about that one. We were just like, if you make a character, you need to make a character have faults.
That's for a different time. That's for a different time. So I hate how negative we kind of like made this seem. So we're gonna go with some lighthearted controversies. Yes, the jelly donuts. So we're gonna go with some lighthearted controversy, and that's how we're gonna end this episode. So this episode, the controversy was mainly just fandoms against the artists. Just I wanted to let you guys know. But to end off this episode, we're just gonna talk about some really, really silly things that was done. So back in the 1990s, when anime was starting to become a little bit more popular and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, we want to have a wider audience. Let's bring it out to America, because they seem to be really interested in it.
I was.
Cool. So, cultural appropriation. Ash Ketchum? His name is not Ash. His name is Satoshi.
Mind blown.
Boom. Serena from Sailor Moon. Her name is Usagi, which means rabbit. Boom. Another mind blown. Joey is not Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! TK is not TK from Digimon. I can't remember their original name. But, those are just some examples. But, sure, we changed those names because American children would not understand who Satoshi is or Usagi. Those are weird names. The kids won't understand. All right.
Won't take the time to learn. But dude, I sat here and watched Naruto like a lot.
We didn't change Naruto's name to like Zack or something. Oh my god.
Just think about that. God. Like, oh my lord.
Because this was shortly after all that stuff. But so, that's just not just a
Sasuke's name is Frankie.
I'm so done. No, he has like an emo name. I can't think of a very emo name at the moment. But like, it would have been so dumb if they was to have done that.
Oh, if they were to do that, I would just like, what are you doing?
So, not only that, we also have some things that they changed that was just kind of silly. The most famous one that a lot of people tend to know is the jelly donuts.
Yep.
There's a scene where Brock is holding rice balls in his hands, and he's in the Japanese version. He's talking about how good the rice balls are and how much he loves rice balls. And what they did in the original translation of the episode was, as he's holding these rice balls, because American kids don't know what rice balls are or onigiri is. That's too confusing. They're jelly-filled donuts.
Alex says a triangle of white rice with seaweed that looks like a jelly donut.
I don't know how they made that jump, but sure, it's a jelly donut. A jelly donut.
You do not know how much that confused me as a kid.
And then there's that other episode where you told me about it, and it wasn't until I saw the clip that I kind of like laughed. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I've personally seen this episode. It's an episode where a giant rice ball is rolling down the hill.
The giant rice ball's rolling down the hill.
And it's going towards Ash, and Ash catches it.
Yeah.
But in the original adaptation to America,
they turned it into a sub sandwich.
Excuse me? That's almost as bad as when Naruto was getting the poison.
Oh, the poison out of his hand.
And he holds an apple.
He holds an apple, and I'm like,
that's a different type of controversy that we're gonna talk about on a different day. But that still kills me. It's just, we're gonna take the poison out of your hand. How are we gonna do it? An apple.
Then you actually have to go and find the uncensored version. Oh, it's just a kunai.
It's a kunai that he stabs. If you read the manga, he stabs a kunai into his hand. But no, that still gets me. Jelly donut. Oh yes, it's a jelly donut. Oh, that also reminds me of that one episode where Ash is like, "Oh, I love eating this soup. It's my favorite." And he has a fork in his hand, and I'm like, "Boy, how you eating that soup?" Because I can tell you right now, buddy, I'm gonna get a lot of soup with that.
You don't eat soup with a fork.
Oh my gosh. So that's our controversial topic for the day. Just to let you know. Yeah. We talk about the anime community, and we have mentioned in the past a little bit about how the anime community can actually be.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show you that it can get worse.
Oh yeah.
A lot worse.
We won't be talking about this for like a while.
When we do another controversial episode, we're going to talk about how bad it can actually get.
Oh yeah.
But that's for next time. So, yeah.
Which isn't until in the future.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you all for joining us today.
And we hope you have enjoyed listening and watching
In Between the Lines. Thanks, guys.